Please, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I want to read some of the language from this bill. I hope everybody's read it. Mr. Speaker, it says on page 2, line 32, you're prohibited to physically hold or support with any part of the person's body a portable wireless communication device. I want you guys to all think about your drive to the Capitol today. Did you hold your phone up to your ear and talk on the phone on your way here today? If you did, you broke this law. Did you have your phone in your hand at any point while you were driving? You broke this law. Was your phone in your pocket? You broke this law. Was your phone on your lap? You broke this law. Let's say you took your phone out of your pocket and you put it on the console. If it slid off while you were driving under your feet, under your gas pedal, if you picked it up, you broke this law. If you want to ban texting, Facebook, internet, go for it. Let's do it. If you ask me, that's reckless driving. But this goes way beyond that. There have been people who have driven their whole lives holding their phone up, talking on their phone, that have not had an accident. Myself included. Okay? We are going to make a lot of people into lawbreakers with this bill. It did not need to go to the point where you can't even have a phone on your person, in your hand, supported in any means. With that, Mr. Speaker, I vote no.
Mr. Speaker, I've listened to the debate on all three of these bills, and I'm voting on this bill because I do not like the primary offense. I think that for the same reasons we heard from my colleagues on the other side about all it would take is, oh, I thought you had your phone in your hand. But if we really want to talk about public safety, what I have not heard about anyone's debate is that has these things made our lives unsafer or safer? And that I'll point this out. When you travel long distances for rural Arizona like I do, that thing right there tells me where there's an accident. It tells me the best planning route to get around the traffic every day during rush hour. It'll give you the best travel time to go where if you're not from around this area, you have to put the address in and you have to find out where to go. But there's also two other things about public safety that I have not heard brought up here today that I think is questions. This is a striker brought to the floor. And I don't like that. I like committees. I like debate. I like for us to make good, comprehensive legislation. What happens now when the majority leader said, we're going to make criminals out of people because of they touched their phone? Where do we get our Amber Alerts at? We get them on our phone. Where do we get our Silver Alerts at? We get them on our phone. So now what have we done? Because this phone is in my passenger seat or in my compartment and an Amber Alert comes up and a child's been abducted, something has happened. That life is just as important. But I can't touch my phone to get the vehicle description or the license plate, or if there's an elderly person that has been lost and reported in. This is what's wrong with bringing bills like this to the floor. And with that, I vote no.
This was a serious issue for me. I had wanted to do something where we could hold accountable those who put others' lives in danger. While this topic was being raised with Officer Townsend right after he was killed, after hearing a person actually crossed 2 full lanes before he struck, which, by the way, already was illegal to do that before he struck Officer Townsend. I started paying attention when police officers were pulled over to the side of the road. And I started counting how many times the motorist moved over, as they were supposed to do by law, when they could move over. Because I remember when we passed the Move Over Arizona law, that when it's safe to get out of the way, that you should do so. I saw this many move over, not one. I've seen 18-wheelers pass police officers. Oftentimes they'll move over, but many times they don't. Why don't they do it anymore? It's another law that we put on the books to protect our officers on the side of the road. Why aren't we following the Move Over Arizona law? It's because we're not enforcing it. Folks, I called somebody I respect, a former police officer from the city of Phoenix. Immensely respect him, and I asked him, what should I do? Because this is really tearing at my heart. What should I do? A police officer, I expected him to tell me to vote on all three. And he said, hold the person who has done wrong accountable, but do not take the freedoms of the people of this state. That the officers who have been hurt or killed were defending the Constitution that they took an oath to protect for freedom. When you keep enacting bills to take other people's freedoms who never broke the law, who never harmed anyone, because of a wrongdoer, you are now stifling the freedoms that they were trying to protect. This is one of the hardest votes I've had to cast. And it by no means reflects how much I care for our first responders. And for that reason, on this bill, I must vote no.